Good morning and welcome to this webinar on the COFUND 2024 call under the Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions in Horizon Europe. My name is Lea Matsvel and I'm here with my colleague Anne Meibom. We are the two national contact points for the MSCA program here in Denmark. We are based at the Danish Agency for Higher Education and Science. And today we are happy to see that we have participants from all across the country and from abroad as well. So welcome to all of you. And before we start, I just have a few comments about practicalities. So the webinar is being recorded and we'll post it on the agency's website. We will send you a link of the recording and all the presentations from today's webinar. For your questions, please use the Q&A section and ask any questions you might have throughout the webinar to us and to the speakers as well. So on the agenda today, we will briefly introduce you to the different services we offer as national contact points here in Denmark. We'll also give you a brief introduction to the main features, of the program. And to present the COFUND 2024 call, we are delighted to have Zakaria Benameur with us. He's a project advisor at the European Research Executive Agency. After his presentation, there will be time for your questions as well. And then we are also very happy to have Katrine Sonne Hansen with us, who is the head of strategic research support at University of Copenhagen, and who will share her insights on applying and implementing a successful COFUND project. And there will be time for questions after her presentation as well. So to start off, we would like to ask you a question here in Slido. So please take a picture of the QR code or go to slido.com and enter this code. We are curious to know what experience you have with the MSCA COFUND scheme. So we will just give you a minute to choose one of these, whether you have experience with the application stage, managing a project, or maybe you have experience with the other MSCA schemes. Yes, we have some. Or perhaps you do not have experience with the MSCA program yet.
So far, no one has experience with COFUND, so it's good to know.
Yes.
Oh. Some with the application stage.
Okay. Okay. So most of you do not have experience with the MSCA, and some of you do have experience with both the application stage and and other schemes, and a small part of you with managing projects. Okay, thank you for that. We have just another one here. We would also like to know what you want to learn more about here today. So we'll just give you a minute as well to just a word or two. Okay.
There's some interest in the application procedures, the rules and how to participate, COFUND requirements. Also, some on the flexibility in the use of costs, so more relating to the implementation of COFUND projects. Yeah, so far both some interest in the application to a COFUND and also relating to the implementation. So we and the speakers will hopefully be able to address all of that.
Yes, you are in the right place then. And then I'll pass on the word to Anna for our introduction. So thank you for
that. Yeah, just very briefly to cover and to give you sort of an idea about how you can use us as national contact points for the MSCA program here in Denmark. So as Leah said, we're based at the Agency for Higher Education and Science. We're based in sort of a unit known as Eurocenter, where we are all the national contact points working with all the areas in Horizon Europe. So not just the MSCA program, but also the other areas of Horizon Europe. So here, sort of our aim is to counsel on the opportunities, the rules, and the procedures in Horizon Europe. So how do you go about securing funding from the program? And this is both in relation to the application process, but also anything that might come up during the implementation of projects. Then we have webinars like the one today, and then we also do workshop trainings, information meetings, and other types of events to sort of promote the program and the opportunities that exist. We also have a number of publications and analysis that you can find on our website. And then we coordinate the EUDK support network, which is a network of EU advisors based in Denmark who cover all the EU programs. So this is a good sort of entryway to finding information about the EU programs that exist that offer funding for research and innovation projects. And there's a link here as well to the EUDK support site. Then here you also see a link to our website where you can find more information about the MSCA program and also other Horizon Europe programs. And then just to sort of set the overall scene, so Horizon Europe is EU's very large funding program for research and innovation. It has a budget of 95.5 billion euros for a 7-year period going from 2021 to 2027. And the program is mainly built over these 3 pillars that you see here on the screen. The Marie Skłodowska-Curie program is based in Pillar 1, in the Excellent Science pillar, that funds sort of frontier research and the best researchers from all over the world. For the 7-year period, the MSCA program has a budget of 6.6 billion euro. So just to put a few words on the program, sort of the main traits. So MSCA focuses on excellent researchers from all over the world at all stages of their career. As you can see in the visual over here, is really based on training, career development, and mobility as part of furthering the researcher career. The aim is to develop researchers' new knowledge and their skills through research and mobility across both borders, sectors, and disciplines. It's a bottom-up program, so it supports research within all areas and also in innovation projects. Then it's also sort of a strong aim of MSCA to foster collaboration between academic organizations and non-academic organizations, particularly industry and SMEs. And in MSCA, there are 5 different schemes. You see them here. We have the doctoral networks, the postdoctoral fellowships, staff exchanges. Then we have MSCA and Citizens and COFUND, which of course is the one we're really zooming in on today. COFUND is the co-funding for doctoral and postdoctoral programs. And these can be national, regional, or international in nature. And to speak a lot more about the details of the call that is open here in 2024, with a deadline in September. We are very happy to introduce Zakaria Benameur, who's a project advisor at the European Research Executive Agency in the MSCA unit, working particularly with COFUND and also with MSCA and citizens. And Zakaria, you're welcome to share your slides now, and then I will pass the floor to you. And as Leah said, we'll have plenty of time for question and answers after Zakaria's presentation. So please post your questions in the Q&A, and then we'll cover that afterwards. So we see your slides now, Zakaria.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Perfect.
Welcome to everyone. Thank you very much, Anne, and thank you, Leah. Thank you for inviting me to this event. My name is Zakaria Benameur, and as already introduced, I'm working in the unit dealing with the Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions, mainly COFUND and citizens. Today, I'm going to guide you through COFUND work, and we will talk about the action, the upcoming call for proposal, and all the questions you have already made. This presentation is mainly made for people who intend to submit proposal. And the first thing what I would like to say before starting my presentation, it's really I encourage you also to read some very useful documents in case you intend to submit a proposal. You have the work program, which is really details, and also the guide for applicant, where you have all the information how to apply and everything. And of course, you have a wonderful national contact point, and they are really aware of everything, also the novelties. We are in close contact every day, not every day, but frequently, of course, and exchanging all the novelties concerning the program. Okay, let's start. What is the COFUND? COFUND, it's a mono-beneficiary action to co-fund new, existing, national, regional, international schemes for doctoral and postdoctoral fellowships. And the focus here is spreading the best practices of the Marie Skłodowska-Curie Action by promoting higher standard in recruitment process and excellent working conditions. This is in introducing also sustainable structuring effect by promoting excellence and sustainable research training, international, intersectoral, and also interdisciplinary cooperation and mobility. You have heard this is really mainly on mobility of researcher, which is the main aim of the Marie Skłodowska-Curie Action. The COFUND modalities. We have actually two schemes, which are the one concerning the doctoral program and the other one, the postdoctoral program. The doctoral program offers research training activity to allow doctoral candidates to develop and broaden their skills and competences, whereas postdoctoral program found individual advanced research training and career development fellowships for postdoctoral researchers. The COFUND is for whom? You have to know that COFUND, it's a mono-beneficiary program. And who can apply? It's a single legal entity established in EU member state or an associated country to Horizon Europe. There is a specificity for this program that each application has to have a minimum of 3 researchers. In case you have less, the proposal is not eligible because it's the minimum required. The COFUND, it's also for academic and non-academic sector. What is it meant by academic sectors? It's public or private higher education establishment awarding academic degrees, public or private non-profit research organization and international European research organization. For the non-academic sector, you can have any socio-economic actors not included in the academic sector. For instance, industry, businesses, independent research infrastructure, government, civil society, organization, and etc. We have three possible structures for the COFUND proposal and projects. The first one is the one you can see on the screen, is you have a research funding organization. We call that a hierarchical structure because you have one coordinator and many partners below, and the coordinator is managing the whole thing. The second structure, it's called horizontal, and here you have the university as a coordinator, and then other university doing the same job in parallel. And the last one, which we can have also, it's a single point. That means you have one coordinator doing everything, hiring the researchers, and managing the whole project. I spoke about partners. You have two different partners in the COFUND project. The first one are the implementing partners. This means, for those partners that they are going to hire fellows, doctoral or postdoctoral, they are going to recruit them and implement the project together with the coordinator. Whereas the associated partner are entities which participate to the actions. For instance, they can provide trainings, secondment, but without the right to charge costs on claim. This is the main difference. The implementing partner are going to pay the researcher. They are going to request costs from the coordinator, but the other one, they are going just to work in the project, to provide training, secondment, but without charging any costs to the project. The COFUND, we have the figures here. The maximum budget for COFUND projects are 10 million per beneficiary per call. The program duration is maximum 60 months, and the fellowships are minimum for 3 months. Of course, in the majority, you have the average of 24, 36 months for each fellows. But the minimum required to be able to hire fellows are 3 months. You can understand that if you have to implement the trainings, it's a minimum required to hire fellows. And as already mentioned, the minimum number of fellows per project are 3. For the eligible researcher, for the doctoral program, the researcher, to give you the definition, the researcher without a doctoral degrees at the deadline of the co-funded program called mandatory enrollment in doctoral program. Those are the requirements for the doctoral program. For the postdoctoral program, there are researchers without a with a doctoral degree, at the deadline of the co-funded program pool. Concerning the nationalities of the researcher, you can have any kind of nationality. It's cover all the world, and the mobility rules, which are important. This is the main aspect of the MSCA programs. The researcher must not have reside or carry out their main activity in the country of the recruiting beneficiary or implementing partner for more than 12 months in the 36 months immediately before the deadline of the co-funded program. This is actually the main sentence you can find in the work program, and also because of the specificity of COFUND, you are going to hire the project if you are selected, and you have to bear in mind this mobility rules in order to have eligible researcher in your program. What you have to bear in mind is that the doctoral and postdoctoral research both fellows should dedicate their time 100% to the project. They cannot work part-time in the project. They have, unless they are personal reasons, but the project should be 100% devoted. The EU contribution covers the minimum remuneration required. I will come back to this point later on. And there is the possibility to apply also for two other schemes, which are the long-term leave allowance or special needs. The long-term leave allowance are for personal reasons or for sickness, for instance, and the special needs allowance are for fellows with special needs, also with disabilities, but this can be applied during the implementation of the project. What is also important in comparison with the previous COFUND's programs, that the research eligibility, we had in the past the full-time equivalent research experience, and this no longer applies for the new COFUND projects. What also you have to bear in mind is that the part-time is allowed for personal or family reason, with prior agreement from us, of course. I mean, you have to be in contact with your project officer to exchange the information concerning specific requests, and to allow or no the part-time to the fellow. You have also part-time due to professional reasons, also can be requested by COFUND postdoctoral research only. Only the postdoctoral researchers can request this type of part-time for professional reasons. The second aspect is the secondment. The secondment can last up to maximum to 1/3 of the fellowship duration. This is a recurring question coming also to us. How long can be the secondment? How long can last the secondment? It's really clear. It can be a maximum of 1/3 of the fellowship duration. And you have also this, in case you are not successful, you have the MSCA COFUND Seal of Excellence, which is awarded to applicants scoring more than 85%. It's a kind of label for proposal ranked about this percentage, and it is provided to the unsuccessful, let's say, very good application, but which are not ranked. Okay, let's go now to the award criteria. You have the 3 award criteria, which are the excellence, the impact, and the implementation. Concerning the excellence, the whitening is 50%. And it's about the quality of the selection and the recruitment process for researcher, including competitiveness of the salary of the researcher. The impact, the whitening is 30%, and it's about the strengthening of human resources best practices and career perspective and employability of researcher and contribution to skills development. In this criterion, you have also the dissemination exploitation plan, including communication activities. And the last criterion is the implementation, which is about the quality and efficiency of the implementation, and the whitening is 20%. Here we have the work plan, the management structure, the risk assessment, the quality and capacity of the host institution, also the expertise to implement the research training program. All those information, you can find them in the work program and in the guide for applicant, of course. The budget structure and the project implementation. We have the doctoral program. For the doctoral program, the minimum allowance is 3,300 euro, and this allowance is including both fellows and employee social contribution. This is really important. because this is the information you are giving also to the future recruited fellows. And it has to be clear from the beginning, also when you publish the call, that this amount include also both social contribution from the fellow and the employee. And then you have as I spoke before, the special need allowance and the long-term leave allowance, and those are a percentage of this 303,000 euro. And the other part is covered by the national social security, actually. For the postdoctoral fellowship, you have a minimum of 4,700. It's again including both fellows and employee social contribution. And the same, again, a percentage of this amount for the long-term leave and for the special need allowance. Okay, the total of the co-funded program, it's specified by the applicant. You have to specify. We set the minimum required salary for the researcher, but is up to you to specify the amount and the total cost of the proposed program. The amount for benefits of the researcher for implementing their organization too. For the cost categories, as I already spoke about, is the long-term leave allowance, and the special need is upon requests in case it is needed during the implementation of the project. Now, to go to the project implementation, each beneficiary implementing partner must recruit each eligible doctoral or postdoctoral researcher under an employment contract or equivalent direct contract with a full social security coverage. When an employment contract cannot be provided, which is not the case in Denmark, due to national legislation, the beneficiary may exceptionally recruit a postdoctoral or doctoral researcher under a fixed amount fellowship, but this is a particular case. For the recruitment, you have during the project implementation, you have to bear in mind that independent expert must be involved at every single stage of the selection process. This is what we are doing when we are selecting also the COFUND project, but as the selection for the researcher is up to the beneficiary of the project, you have to do this exercise, and you have to involve independent expert during the selection process. The selection of the researcher must also follow an open, transparent, merit-based, impartial, and equitable selection procedure. This also has to be explained in the proposal how it will be done. With vacancies internationally advertised and published, including also the EURACCESS website, and this information you can have also in your MCP office. Concerning the training program, it shall offer a wide variety of opportunities for researchers to experience secondment, including intersectoral ones, to benefit from training in research and transferable skills. In the case of postdoctoral program, there must be involvement of independent international experts based on other countries. This is a specificity only for postdoctoral program. The expert must be independent, of course, but they should be international. And this is something also what I advise as a project officer to my project, that they should start also looking for international experts, because it's not an easy exercise to start from the beginning looking for international expert before advertising the call. In terms of project implementation, you have the call timing. You have to pay attention to the timing of the call. Take into consideration also the period. The call is open as well as the steps involved from the eligibility check up to the actual selection of and the recruitment of the fellows. This is very important because I mean the main issues with the COFUND project is the timing, and you have to bear in mind that it's a long project. You have 5 years, but you have to start really early, mainly before the course to have all the steps set up in order not to be too late for the course. You have also to consider the numbers of fellows to be recruited. This information you have to provide in your proposal, but of course, depending on the course, we can adapt this information during the implementation of the project. And last but not least, you have to consider the use of a reserve list. This is very important because researchers are actually moving from a country to another ones, are having different proposals, and you may use the reserve list in case you have fellows not joining the project at the last moment. Let's go now to the proposal structure. You have the part A, which are structured data. This is the data you are providing, information on your structure, on the partners, the bank account, etc. And then you have the part B. The part B is divided by part B1 and part B2. You have the description of the action for the part B1 and the part B2, the annexes. What is important to know about the part B, which is the description of the action, you have the first page, which is 1 page, and the general description and information on the beneficiary, maximum 2 pages, the table of content, 1 page, and then the excellence, impact, and implementation. This is where you are explaining your proposal, and this has to have a maximum of 30 pages. The part B annexes. In the part B annexes, you will find the ethical aspects. At this stage of the project, it's more about the procedure you are going to implement concerning the ethical issues, the ethical aspect of your project. Then you have the partner organization, the list of the partner organization, and then you have the environmental consideration, like the MSCA Green Charter. And there are no over a page limit, but exception, this is a maximum of 1/2 page for the associated and implementing partners. Concerning the forthcoming calls, details, we have, as Anna mentioned already, a call open from the 23rd of April, and the deadline is 26th April, with a budget of 104.80 million. And I think that's it on my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Zachariah. It's all very useful and very clear. So thank you very much. Just to highlight, the deadline is 26th of September, yes?
Yes.
Yes, perfect. So we have included now just a few slides on some statistics from the 2022 call. Which is the one we have sort of the latest results from, as we don't have the results from the 2023 call just yet. So I'll just share slide again, and then we'll have question and answers just after. So for the 2022 call for a COFUND, you see here on your left side there are 107 proposals submitted for the call. 56 of these were for a doctoral program and 51 for a postdoctoral program. out of these, 30 proposals were funded directly through the main list. Out of these, 16 were doctoral programs and 14 were postdoctoral programs. This comes to an overall success rate of 28.6%. So a very good and high success rate for COFUND. And then if we just dive a little bit more into the figures, and look at submissions per country, you can see here at the bottom, both for 21 and for 22. So blue is at 21 and red is 22. You see sort of the numbers of submission from the different member states. And you see here for Denmark, which is, of course, the numbers that we tend to look the most towards, that in 2021, there were actually no submissions for doctoral programs, but there were 2 for doctoral programs in 2022. Then if we look at the postdoctoral programs, again, for 2021 and 2022, for Denmark, there were 1 in 2021 and 1 in 2022. And then, of course, interesting to look at the actual funding. And unfortunately, as you can see from this slide, for the 2021 call, there were no funding for sort of Danish beneficiaries. But you do see them here that France had quite a lot of doctoral programs financed, and Spain had quite a lot both doctoral and postdoctoral programs financed. It doesn't mean, however, that there weren't some Danish participations, because as you can see from this slide, and also as was mentioned about associated partners, this possible role in projects, Denmark had participations for the 2022 call as associated partner in both doctoral and postdoctoral programs. So as you can see here for Denmark, for doctoral programs, there were 6 associated partners from Denmark participating, and for postdoctoral, there were 8 associated partners from Denmark participating. So that was just sort of to add some figures, some statistics to the presentation. And then we'll move on to question and answers. And I think, Lea, there aren't any posed yet, which we just assume is because everything has been very clear and covering what you need to know. But please pose questions if you have any. This is really the time to ask them directly to Zakaria from the Commission, and from Rea, who's with us today. And then I think we had a question, because, you know, as national contact points, we get a lot of questions also. Let's see, Zakaria, you have a hand raised. You can take
yes. If I may add something to the figures.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I mean, you can see some countries that are really performing. And just to give you some reasons, maybe it will encourage you also to participate. How we work in terms of evaluation of proposal. We have a period where we have all the proposal submitted after the deadline, and then within those proposals we have many resubmissions. And resubmissions coming from those countries, you are seeing also the performing countries. What is important is to submit a proposal, and to, if you are not successful, actually to read the summary report, what is submitted by the European Commission, and to see what are the missing parts you need to improve. And I can tell you, most of the time, if you submit it the first time, the second time you will be successful, depending also on the competition during the next call. You have just to bear in mind one thing, what I already mentioned. It's the work program and the guide for applicants. Those are the Bible for you, because you have to read them carefully. You have to see all the information within. And it doesn't mean if you are not successful that your project is weak. the competition is quite hard, to be honest, in COFUND. Sometimes you have a project with 89% which are not successful or are only in the reserve list, because you have other projects that are a little bit more developed. And therefore, I really advise you to, if you are not successful, or if among you there are people that already submitted some proposal and they're not successful, just to read again the summary report what we sent to you, and I encourage you to resubmit proposal, taking into account our comments.
Thank you, Secretary. Very useful for applicants not to be too discouraged and to reapply the following year based on the comments in the evaluation summary report.
Yeah, just to throw one question there for you, Zakaria. What we see might be interesting for some of the Danish applicants would be to include a foundation who will not, so to say, participate in the project, but would only provide co-financing. So what would you say for a foundation? What role would they have in the project, and how should they be mentioned and included in the application?
I mean, there is a possibility to add a foundation, of course. I mean, we have also foundation as a coordinator of the project, and it's up to the coordinator to choose what kind of role they will have. They can be implementing partner, and they can also request financing from the coordinator, or they can be like just associated partner, providing also support to the coordinator, hiring some fellows. I mean, providing some fellows with secondment, with trainings. I mean, you have different scenarios. I mean, for the foundation, I mean, there is no rules about foundation. They can be, as I told you, coordinator, associated, or implementing partner. But of course, I mean, if we see in the proposal that you have a partner which is going also to co-fund the project, and it will be an added value for the proposal.
Mm-hmm. But it is also possible for an organization to participate solely providing the co-funding. So not having an implementing partner role, which just to stress again, as an implementing partner, you need to recruit. Just to have that confirmed.
Yes. Sure.
Yeah.
They can just provide fund. I mean, it's possible, of course. It
Yeah.
will be the part coming from the beneficiary. Actually, for us as a commission, it will be the part coming from the beneficiary. As I told you, it's a mono beneficiary. The sources, the financing sources, we are not checking all the financing sources, but you know that the beneficiary is going to come with a part for the co-funding to the project. If it's coming for foundation from a ministry, or this is up to the applicant to decide.
Yeah, maybe just continuing with that, and may have touched a little bit upon this in your presentation, Zakaria. Are there sort of guidelines to say what part of the funding should come from the sort of beneficiary side, percentage-wise? Are there any sort of indications for what the split should look like?
I mean, in the work program, it is specified that we are financing the half of the project, a little bit more than the half of the project, and the other half is coming from the beneficiary. This is the specificity of this program. I mean, it's for because I saw in the slide you have many people in this presentation. I mean, in this meeting, who has participated in other schemes, and I have the experience in other schemes, also in the individual fellowships, where the European Commission is financing 100% of everything, the whole salary of the proposal. In COFUND, it's the difference that we share the budget, and And this is specified in the work program. And when applying, it's really important that you prove that the fund are going to be added to the project when the project will be selected.
Good. I don't think any more questions have come just yet. So I think we will just continue for now, and then of course we have some time for questions towards the end.
Just one question for one additional information. Also, it is important also for the participant, for the future participant, because they have the national contact point, they have you, and there. And I mean, I'm not going to disappear after this meeting. I mean, I will stay here. And in case, I mean, I mean, we are working in team. And in case there is a need to have any information, of course, I will not help you to draft the proposal. It's not fair. But I mean, in case you need some information, some additional information, we are here to help you. We are here to provide you with all the information. And don't hesitate really to contact the national contact point. And if they need more information, they will contact me or contact my colleagues.
Good. We second that you can always contact us, and yes, we do have very good ties with your team also in REA. So yes. Okay, I think we have just one more short Slido here, just to sort of sum up your takeaways from the presentation from Zachariah. If you would join again via Slido and just answer the question here, where your most or the most useful information was found for you, whether it was about the eligibility rules, the 2 types of programs, the budget, the types of partners that are possible in a COFUND project, the structure of the application Zachariah also covered, or sort of points on the evaluation. You can choose one, or you can choose more than one. So types of programs was useful, and also information about the budget, definitely. Just going to allow a few more minutes. We see also for the eligibility rules. It's of course always good to be well aware of them. So eligibility rules was very useful, also information about the budget. And then we also have some good takeaways from types of programs, type of partners, and the evaluation in statistics. So very good. Thank you for joining in on Slido. Then moving on to our next presenter. I'm very happy to pass the floor on to Katrine Sonne-Hansen, who is Head of Strategic Research Support at the Biotech Research and Innovation Center at University of Copenhagen. And Katrine, we know that you've had a great success with COFUNDs in Horizon Europe's predecessor in Horizon 2020. So we're very happy that you were willing to be with us and to share your insights. And you're welcome to share your slides now.
Sure.
And then I will pass the floor to you. And then, as mentioned already, we have some time for questions also for Katrine after her presentation.
So do you see now?
Yep, everything looks good.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Anne, and I can also just second what was said, reach out to Anne and Leah. We just submitted a 4th application actually in the round that was open until February this year, and it was a new framework program for us, so I actually had a lot of questions, even though that we have quite some experience, and both Anne and Leah was really, really helpful. So I call this talk Cracking the Code of COFUNDs because I actually think that this is what we did. So I hope some of the information I will share with you today will also help you decide, first of all, if this is the relevant scheme for you to apply for, and if it is, and if you already made that decision, how to do it. So just very briefly about our organization, BRIC is a biomedical research center under the Faculty of Health and Medical Sciences here at the University of Copenhagen. We have 22, very soon 25 research groups with approximately 250 to 300 employees, and we have 65% of our staff being internationals. What is really one of the reasons for us why COFUND became attractive initially was that we have to secure 75 to 80% of our budget from external funding. And primarily this external funding comes from small pots of money to specific research projects. We do not have a large chunk of funding from a foundation or elsewhere. So it's to our different researchers that this funding is attracted. We have quite a strong basis in terms of talent development, of researcher training. So BRIC has 3 vision points, and one of them specifically is for talent development. And I think this is really important to mention because I think it's a basis that we stand on. And I think without that pre-development, you could say, I'm not sure that COFUNDs would have been the right scheme to go for us. So we have since 2006, we have organized a national PhD program for fellows working at BRIC, doing their PhD thesis here, but also at other departments at the university, at the Danish Cancer Society, at some of the hospitals. Today, it actually enrolls 155 fellows, where approximately 30%, 1/3, is located here at BRIC. We have 2 part-time coordinators organizing this, and the reason why they are part-time is that they organize this national PhD program as one of their tasks, and then they actually organize either a Marie Curie COFUND or a Marie Curie doctoral network as the other part of their position. We also run a national postdoc program with 60 to 70 postdocs and have 1 part-time coordinator here as well. And on the other half of her job is actually coordinating Marie Curie COFUND for postdocs that we also have. So looking back, we actually started our support and trying to attract Marie Curie schemes with the individual fellowships or the postdoc fellowships. We started that work in 2013. And since that, we have had 22 individual fellowships here at the center. Then in 14-15, we also became interested in the doctoral networks. And since then, we have had 5 coordinator programs. One of them is running at the moment. And we have also been partners in a number of projects. And then in 2017, we had discussed for very many years that we would really like to try to recruit our doctoral students or PhD students in cohorts to have these coordinated uptakes. But with the funding situation, with PIs just recruiting PhDs whenever they had attracted funds, this was really not an opportunity. So this is what actually sparked our interest in COFUNDs, to see if we could attract a program to do like a coordinated uptake of all our PhD fellows. So these are just the numbers. You can see that actually this is the top 20 resources of external funding here at BRIC. And Marie Curie is actually high on this list, both the COFUNDs and the doctoral networks, but also the individual fellowships. So as I mentioned, we started having an interest in COFUNDs because we wanted to do this coordinated uptake in cohorts to see how that would work. And doing that, BRIC is quite broad in the research areas. We had to find an instrument that covers a broad research area, and where we could recruit the majority of the fellows or all fellows to one institute. And this is where the COFUND comes in. It covers a broad research area. You can cover easily everything in a center, but also across a university. I know the University of Copenhagen, the Faculty of Science, had also a COFUND for PhDs that actually covered the entire faculty. For us, it was an incentive for coordinated recruitment of fellows. Basically, the PIs would hold back the funding they attracted to be part of the next upcoming call. And then it was also, so I sit in the management team at our center, and in the management team, we also had some different ideas for new training approaches and also for new collaborations that we would like to build at organizational level. So the COFUND was also an instrument to do that. Another incentive was really that we had both new groups, we had very strong groups that were internationally recognized, we had smaller groups. And we saw that there was really a difference in how attractive the labs were to new fellows. So we thought that this, like with the stamp of the Marie Curie program, would probably also attract more applicants to smaller or newer labs that were not as well recognized. And basically, last reason for embarking on this was that earlier on, there was some funds for PhDs fellowships. BRIC actually had some of these, I think it was from the ministry, global fellowships. We could also attract from the foundations. But around that time where we started to apply for COFUNDs, basically there was no opportunities to apply for any national PhD fellowships. And as mentioned before, 28% success rate is actually very encouraging when you look at other EU schemes. Yeah, so the COFUNDs we have had and have, the first one was funded in 2017 called IMED. And here our focus was really to try out this coordinated recruitment and more structured training program, and especially a more structured career activity program. This project has been very successful. Most PhDs have actually defended. I think we have 3 or 4 who have prolonged their enrollment and will defend either in the summer or in the fall. But formally, the project ended by 31st of March this year. And with that experience, we actually thought we would like to try to attract a postdoc program, and we did that in 2019 for 16 postdocs. And here the idea was really to support the transition from postdoc to research leader. I'm not saying PI because it's broader than that. It's research leader in or outside of academia. So this is really what we see our postdocs struggle with. So we thought that through a Marie Curie scheme, perhaps we could learn how to support them better. We could try out different training schemes, different structures, different support to support this transition. This program is running now. It was running in the middle of the pandemic, so we were really struggling to recruit. We had the intention to recruit over 2 cohorts, but basically the first 2 rounds during Corona, it was impossible. So we actually have had the call open 4 times. And the last fellows are onboarding as we speak almost. Then to follow up on the success of IMED, we put in another application for a PhD program in 2020. And here we really wanted to develop closer ties to the clinic. So it was kind of an incentive for more of our groups to engage, collaborate, more with the clinicians to have this transition of researchers being able both to work in basic research, but also having not a foot in the clinic, but at least knowledge of what is relevant in the clinical setting. And then last, we are partner in Emerald, which is 6 or 7 countries across Europe as implementing partner, the beneficiaries in Spain. And here we have recruited 5 MD PhD, so people, students with a MD background to do a basic PhD, a PhD in a basic research lab here at BRIC. So all the first 3 co-funds at BRIC solely recruit PhDs or postdocs to BRIC, whereas the Emerald program has multiple implementing partners. So developing these co-fund applications has been really, really different from anything else that we have tried before, because you could say that the support function really is turned upside down. So I'm the main applicant of these co-funds from BRIC, being in a research support positions, whereas then we used, you could say, the researchers, our not postdocs, but our PIs, more as an expert working group. So it's basically them supporting us in generating the ideas for the different research areas, the ideas for the different collaborations with other research environments or with the clinic. And also in terms of the training program, what do they see as needs for the students? But the main task of developing these schemes or these applications is with me and my team. Whereas on the doctoral network, this is the other way around. It's the PIs who are the main applicants, and we support them in the process. And the reason why we have done it this way is that, as was also mentioned in the previous presentation, that the focus, the entire excellence section of the application has a focus on the recruitment process and training. So basically, there's nothing about research in it, and this is why the profile of the main applicant can change from being an active researcher to being someone like me who has very many years of experience either supporting large applications or running different training programs for PhDs and postdocs. We have in the one that we just submitted, we also have implementing partners, but for our existing co-funds, we have only had associated partners who provided either training opportunities or career activities. In terms of actually getting to the finish line, I would recommend that you start at least 6 months before the deadline. It takes a lot of time to develop these applications. So as mentioned, one of the central elements is the recruitment process. And this is just to show that it's actually quite a complex process, engaging, as mentioned before, independent international experts in some of the phases. So we usually have between, for the postdoc less, but for the PhD calls, we have 200 to 600 applicants. So it's a lot to handle. After the eligibility check, which includes the mobility requirements of the Marie Curie scheme, we usually have between 150 and 300 applicants left, and these are all scored and evaluated by an independent a panel. 3 times the number of positions open goes on to interviews with the selection committee, and then from that ranking they engage in host interviews, and based on the ranking from the selection committee and the matchmaking between candidates and host, then they receive at the end a fellowship offer. From the opening of the call to offering the fellowship, it actually takes around 4 months, 5 months even. So it's a long process. The other central element is really the training program. This is just very briefly, I'm not going to go through it. This is from our current Discover project. So there's offer training skills in research, primarily through our own hands-on research work. We also offer different training in research governance, GDPR, data management, open access. We also have annual summer schools, offer transferable skills training, and then quite a lot of, you could say, career activities, support activities to these groups of fellows. So the learning points is really that it's an incentive to do something that you would like to do anyway. And that really comes down to the funding. I mean, if you are to raise, so in Horizon 2020, the co-funding added up to around 40%. So you have to put in 60% of the co-funding for the salaries yourself. On top of that comes the enrollment fees and research costs. So you should want to do this. And there's no country correction coefficient, meaning that the Danish salaries actually takes a lot of co-funding from the organization. What it requires is also, from my experience, I would say alignment with existing training programs and activities, and make sure that you do not ask the students to do something double. Having a platform and experience already before you apply for co-funds is advisable. And then also having experience with recruitment and training of international fellows, I would also say it is advisable before you apply to the scheme. Align well with HR. It's quite resourceful to have them on board even before you apply, so that the process, the application process and recruitment process is aligned with your HR department. And then, as I mentioned, a relevant profile of the coordinator. I'm not sure that any of our professors would have liked to implement or write these kind of applications. One thing I'm always asked is then, how do you find the co-funding of these co-funds? And one thing that is very important to bear in mind is that these are a talent program, not linked to specific research projects. And this means that we have from all the national, both public and private foundations, had the agreement that they would like to co-fund it. So there's 2 ways of doing this. Some of our PIs apply before for, let's say, the Danish Cancer Society for a project and include a PhD fellowship. And then when they recruit on this project, they actually go back and have had the permission to rearrange some of the budget parts so that the Marie Curie covers the part of the salary. Others apply for part of the salary if they already know that they will recruit a fellow or if they already recruited a fellow. So we have so far had very positive replies from the Danish Cancer Society, Lundbeck Foundation, Novo Nordisk Foundation, and the independent research councils as well. So I mean, here people do not have the money up front. We ask 4-5 months ahead of a call who would like to be part of the upcoming call, who has the funding, and then we open the call with those groups that have shown interest in a specific call. So this is this last slide. It's just to show you that we are an interdisciplinary team, which I think is really, really beneficial. We have people from social sciences, our PhD coordinators, and humanities. We have people with research background themselves. I have that as well. We also have communication officers in the team who runs the outreach, which is required in Marie Curie schemes. And I would advise you to reach out broadly in the organization if you are to write an application here. So with that, I'm open to take some questions if someone has that.
Perfect. Thank you, Katrine, for a very good presentation. One question?
We have one question, Katrine, we
Sure.
would like to ask. You mentioned you had mainly associated partners. We also often receive questions about their role. So perhaps you could elaborate a little bit what kind of associated partners you have, which sectors they're from, and perhaps how many you have included.
Yeah, so it varies depending on the program. We did try what you discussed before, asking foundations and even companies in as co-funders up front. We did not succeed. We had, with one larger company, we actually had a 1-year-long discussion, and then a couple of weeks before the deadline, they withdrew from the program. So yeah, but other than that, I mean, we have private companies primarily providing career activities. So coming in, giving seminars, inviting the fellows out, having workshops on career development activities. Then we also have foundations in more also for training in entrepreneurship, for example. We had in the program that was closed, we also had Videnskab.dk as a partner for the communication parts and training of the researchers. So it really varies. For the current one, we have 5 major hospitals as clinical partners, and they have co-supervision roles for all the students. So all the students have a co-supervisor from the clinic. So it really depends on, you could say, the project idea.
Makes sense, yeah.
Maybe another question to you, Katrine. Zachariah mentioned the thing about evaluation panels and the importance of being well in time and starting that. Was that something you had challenges with in
Yes,
your project, setting the panel?
So in the first one, we actually had all the names in place before, and it worked well. But it was, I mean, getting them on board is not easy, right? You reach out to people who have an active research career, preferably someone who has experience in doctoral training networks, something like that. So it's busy people. So basically we reached out and we offered it back. So one of the panelists, evaluators, actually 2 of the 4 in the first call had their own co-funds. So we kind of came back acting also as evaluators. For the one that we are currently having, we actually decided that it was too much to ask them to come back every year to do this work, 1 or 2 days. So now we set the panels every year, but it's a lot of work then to make sure that the evaluators are on top of the role. But then the work falls back on me instead of on the evaluators. So it works as well.
Okay, but good to have a good plan, it sounds like. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So I see no more questions. We have, thank you again, Katrine, for your presentation. And then we have just one final Slido that we hope you will all help answer. So this is just to have your most important takeaways from the full webinar. Was there something specifically useful for you? Please add it here with a word or a couple words. It's very useful for us in planning the next webinars to come. And we won't keep you around longer than that. So as you're typing, we just want to say thank you for tuning in today and for joining our COFUND webinar. And of course, a warm thank you to both Zachariah Benamor from REA for your presentation and all your useful insight. And again, thank you to Katrine Sonne Hansen from University of Copenhagen also for your presentation. And as was said several times, you're always welcome to reach out to us as the national contact points for MSCA here in Denmark. And yeah, we'll be in touch that way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.